everybody. Welcome to the Successful Mind podcast, where today we are deconstructing jealousy, envy, and also judgments to help you see what the secret meaning is behind why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. Give us a listen. Give us some comments after you listen. We'd love to know what you think.
You're listening to the Successful Mind podcast.
Successful people learn how to make their minds work for them.
We are Life is Now, and this is the Successful Mind podcast.
So what's happening?
So I have an idea for a conversation I think would be beneficial.
Okay.
I would like to talk about jealousy and envy.
All right.
It's come up a couple of times in the last couple of weeks with clients, and I think a lot of people have a misunderstanding on what those two things are and what they can tell you and teach you about yourself in various different situations.
Yeah.
So why don't we just start with what's the difference between jealousy and envy?
Well, I think the thing about jealousy is that usually, this is called the green-eyed monster for a reason, right? There's usually some kind of anger that goes along with jealousy that you don't necessarily see with envy. But
that means there's fear there.
Yeah, there's fear.
So jealousy is fear-based.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
Okay.
It's something you don't think you can be, do, or have that you see somewhere else. We often see it where a person feels like they were replaced in a relationship or, something like that.
So something's being taken away.
That's the way that they see it.
Yeah.
But the thing is with both of these is that it's really an indication of something that a person wants inside of themselves. I've always thought about it from the aspect of when you look at somebody who is jealous or you look at somebody who's envious of somebody else, you usually find somebody that is not giving themselves the things in their life that they want. And they're, for whatever reason, and because I've seen the envy turn to jealousy too, right?
Oh, interesting.
You become envious of
Okay.
what somebody else has, and then you can't get it, but you get stuck looking at it every day. Like, say you're driving past this beautiful home or something, and then eventually those people turn into assholes.
Gotcha.
Right? So you all of a sudden, like the people, you don't know them, you've never met them, they've never done anything to you, but because you got to drive past their beautiful house every day and you're living in something that's not as beautiful,
They're assholes.
it goes from that's a nice house to they're an asshole at some point. And I think it's because there's a hate that goes on there. I think there's a hurt that goes on, but I do believe that it all stems from a person that's not giving themselves what they're capable of in their life. Here's what's interesting about it that I've noticed, and I thought about this a lot back in the days when I first started studying. A person isn't jealous or envious of everything, but they will usually pick out specific things to target those emotions on. So why do they pick out those things, right? Because obviously if a person's jealous or envious, some part of them wants
that thing.
what that thing is or what it represents for someone else. But they don't think that they can have it for whatever reason. So there's a lot that can go there. So I just want to be kind of conscious about how I put this. They don't think they could have it, maybe. They might have shame or guilt around the idea of having it. They may think that it's wrong to have it. They might feel like they could lose relationships if they have it. Who knows what other negative stories that they could have, because everybody has their own individual negative story. But for whatever reason, they don't think that they can have what this person has, and yet part of them wants it because they're attaching an emotion to it. You know how we say if a person's in a relationship, they go into a relationship, they're in a loving relationship, and then for whatever reason, the relationship ends and they're angry, they're furious at somebody, and they stay that way for 10 years. It's a way for them to stay in the relationship.
To stay connected to
stay
that person,
connected,
to
right.
stay connected to that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I think jealousy and envy are very similar.
Interesting.
Yeah, I really do. It's a way to have a relationship with something, right? Because if you target something out and you project that onto it, you're now in relationship with it, right?
Yeah.
So when think about how intense the emotions are of those two ideas, especially jealousy, right?
Yeah. I've always seen, so my take on jealousy is I've always seen jealousy as being really fear-based. So like take the example of relationships, right? You're in relationship with someone and you're jealous because their attention is going to someone else. Like they've got a great friend that you're now having to share time with. So you're jealous of that relationship, or you're jealous of, but it's like, it's fear-based because the jealousy is stemming from something being taken from you, even if it's just attention, taking someone's attention from you. And with envy, in my mind, I see envy is a sign that I want more of that thing in my life, but I'm not allowing myself to have more of that thing in my life. Right? Like I'm envious, like things that I'm envious. I follow so many like nomadic people. on Instagram.
You're attracted to it.
I'm attracted to that because I want more freedom in my life. I want more freedom of travel in my life and experiences. So I'm envious of that because they have that and I want more of it. It's not that it's fear-based or I'm afraid anyone's going to take anything away from me, but it's a sign that I want more of that in my life. I used to be envious of people who could, like at weddings, I would see these women get up and dance in front of everybody.
Oh yeah.
And I would be so envious.
I can't dance.
Like those, look at and they, they wouldn't have the perfect bodies. They'd just be having a great time. And I'd be so envious because I wanted to be comfortable enough in my body to be able to do that without the fear of judgment.
And without alcohol.
And without copious amounts of alcohol. Yeah, without alcohol. So it's kind of like a sign that if I'm feeling envious towards something, it means that there's something that I'm not giving myself more of in my life that I want more of in my life. Whereas jealousy is very like something's going to be taken from me. I'm going to lose something. Like there's fear underneath it. Whereas envy
but it's still something you want. It's just that you're going to lose it. Envy is something that you don't think you can have.
Yes.
And the jealousy is you're afraid of something you're going to lose. But in both cases, you want the object that because
you want more attention. If attention's going to someone else, you want more attention, which means that you're not giving yourself enough attention and cultivating your own self-love to not need it from someone else.
Right.
It all goes back to the same thing. It's same with judgment, right? The things that you judge about people are the things that you actually want a little bit more of in your life. We do this work. We used to do this work in a program that we did, I don't know, years ago. And we would take our clients through a process to uncover their suppressed self.
Yes.
Remember that activity?
That's a great activity.
So it would be this long drawn, and their subconscious mind would fight it tooth and nail, right? Like their subconscious mind just would deflect.
Yep.
And you'd ask them a simple question and they would just hear static in their mind. It was so hard for them to get clear on this. And when it boiled down to is the things that they judged about others, if the question we would ask them is, take a look at the qualities of those things that you judge others, right? What if you sprinkled a tiny little bit of whatever that is into your life? Just a smidge. How would that have a positive impact on your life, right?
Yeah.
And it would be so hard for them to see how that would have a positive impact, right? So for me, I'm using myself as I'm all out there today myself. One of the things that I used to judge, I'm a little bit better at it now, is people that would wear their pajamas to the grocery store. Like, I had a really hard time. I'd go to the grocery store and I'd see these people and they'd be in their slippers and their pajamas in the grocery store. And I judged that. Like, I judged that negatively about them, right? And we've done this suppressed self exercise with lots of people. And so, of course, I've taken myself through it, to see what this actually is. And if I took a sprinkle of that and put it in my life at the time, how would it be of benefit to me? I wouldn't care what people thought of what I look like.
Yeah.
They don't give two shits that they're bothering people by wearing pajamas.
Yeah, right.
So this jealousy, envy thing is really related to the judgments that you have about other people as well. You judge people because you want some of that in your life and you don't think you can have it People judge loud, obnoxious people because they wish they could be more, just
Yes.
a tiny little bit more expressed, right? People judge people that, I mean, I used to judge people like water parks were a landmine for me because I just had so much body shame. You know, walking through a water park, I was like, oh my God, this is like the worst place for me. I have judgments all over the place. And it was because I wanted to not care what I look like in
Right.
a swimsuit. I wanted to accept who I was in my body in a swimsuit. So you think of all the things that you judge about people. And I judge very few people, a whole lot less now.
Yeah,
Like I
for
carry
sure.
very few judgments. But it used to be like up in my face. And I would and without that level of awareness of, wait a second, why am I judging these people? It's because I want a little bit of that in my life. I want to be more expressed. I want to be more self-secure. I want to be more self-conscious or not self-conscious. I don't want to be more self-conscious, self-accepting,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So I think jealousy and envy, you know, in terms of what they are, what they aren't, their primary driver is they're there so you can see what you actually want more of in your life.
Right. I was going to say their primary driver is desire. It's a toxic
100%.
form of their desire.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That I always thought it was fascinating because, well, you said something that I think was interesting, and I was trying to make to make a note about it. You like the things that you were judging in others. How did you say you wanted those things for yourself? Is that the way that you put
Yeah,
it?
I would judge the people that would come to the grocery store in their pajamas because, God, wouldn't it be nice for me to leave home without second guessing what I was wearing?
Right. Not that you wanted to wear pajamas.
I don't want to wear pajamas.
Right.
No, don't get me wrong. You will never see Steph Tuss in a grocery store.
Which is weird because right now you have pajamas on.
Stop.
Thank goodness this is an audio-only
You will
podcast.
not see me in the grocery store with pajamas or slippers, although on occasion I have almost left the house in slippers without realizing it.
How about the red pajamas during Christmas?
Right.
No.
With the little shoes on the back so you can go to the
Pajamas
bathroom.
belong at home, not at a store, not at a grocery store. And
But what if you had a
choose
little
that
smidge of that?
If you choose, well, see, that's the thing. If you choose to do that, that's fine. I'm not judging you anymore, but that's not for me. That's not the standard that I have for myself.
Right.
But I also don't constantly second guess what I'm wearing anymore. I'm not concerned with what other people perceive me when I leave my house. Whereas the old Steph was incredibly concerned about what she looked like. Right? Like sometimes it was almost debilitating,
Yeah.
multiple changes of clothes, all kinds of body shame and self-hate around what I look like.
Yeah.
And it was generational shame.
And it's not that you don't care, so like you're going to show up being a slob anywhere,
Correct.
right? You definitely take care. You have importance to your appearance,
Very much.
right?
But I wear what I want to wear now, not what I think I need to wear or what other people have said that I need to wear.
yeah, that's yeah. When I worked with Proctor, he used to say, "It doesn't matter what I think; it only matters what you think." Because people always time say, "What do you think?" You know, how do I look in this? How do I look in it? It doesn't matter what I think; it only matters what you think, right?
Oh my God. That's a question that would come out of my mouth every single day. Every single day. How do I look in this?
Yeah.
So what do we do with that? So this is great because I need some help around this too. So if I'm a person who struggles with jealousy or envy, asking for a friend, what would be a situation or an activity that they could do to become aware? Is it as simple as what do you judge and then write that down?
In terms of jealousy and envy, it's what do you want more of that you're not giving yourself?
Right.
Like if you're feeling envious of something or you're feeling jealous of someone, what do you want more of in your life that you're not allowing yourself to have? And you've probably got great excuses around why you can't have those. That doesn't matter. It's a simple question of if I'm envious of this really successful business owner, is it because you want more support in your life? Is it because you want to be more visible? Is it because you want more money? Is it because you want more, like whatever it is? Like,
Well,
what's the underlying message?
but
in
also
this?
think about this when it gets to the extreme of jealousy and envy, because I consider those extreme ends of that emotion, they've convinced themselves that they can't have it. Are you an established business owner sick and tired of scratching and clawing your way to the next level of success? Believe me, we've all been there. And we at Life Is Now want you to know that you're closer than you realize to achieving the quantum leap that you've been working so hard to get. This is why we asked some of the industry's best and brightest leaders to join us in our upcoming Business Momentum Summit. During these 2 days together, we'll share strategies and tools that are working right now to create massive success in your business. This free and fully virtual training event will take place on April 27th and 28th, where we'll be joined by top business growth experts such as Lisa Nichols, Angela Loria, Nick Kuzmich, and others. Each speaker plans to share the strategies and secrets that led to their business success. Some topics you can expect over the course of these value-packed 2 days are cultivating a winning mindset, how to use money to make more money, how to harness AI to reclaim your time and serve your clients at a higher level, how to use books to establish your platform, how to use LinkedIn to generate high-paying clients, Facebook ad secrets and strategies that save you money, how to create live events that catapult your business, and many more. For more information on how you can participate in this life-changing Business Momentum Summit, go to lifeisnowinc.com/momentum. That's lifeisnowinc.com/momentum. The Business Momentum Summit is about more than just making a few extra bucks. It's about pushing yourself to the next level and beyond. The speakers we've assembled will give you the strategies you need to make that happen. With the right mindset and the right tools, you too can achieve financial success and personal fulfillment. It's time to turn your six-figure year into six-figure months with the Business Momentum Summit. Go to lifeisnowinc.com/momentum and take full advantage of this amazing opportunity. And now, back to the show. So it's more than just an excuse, I think. I think most of them are actually convinced that they can't have it. Yeah, because I don't know about with envy so much, because I can remember times where I've been a little envious. And even now, sometimes I'll see something and I'll say to myself, oh, I mean, and you can tell it's a little envy, right? But then but there's also an appreciation for it, right?
Yes.
You can be envious and appreciative, like, holy shit, that's an amazing whatever that person has. And I know that that's also a representation of something about that thing is something that I also desire in my life. But with jealousy, it's a little different. There's almost an anger that shows up. And in a lot of cases there are, but I also think that there's probably an idea of somebody taking something from you. I had an interesting experience last week.
Oh, do tell.
So I was talking with somebody that I know, and they were explaining to me, they were telling me about a bunch of new things that were being developed in a community.
Okay.
And everything about this new community or whatever was the person that was telling me this, everything about it was negative. And I was waiting to hear, is there anything about this that has a positive twist on it at all? And it wasn't. It was constantly negative. Now, this person doesn't know any of these people. It doesn't affect this person in any way whatsoever. I mean, literally, Steph, it has absolutely
doesn't take any from them, doesn't affect them, doesn't inconvenience them.
No.
Okay.
But so I started thinking to myself, because there was an anger there, like this anger. And I started thinking about it, and I was really listening to what this person was saying. And what I was starting to hear was, I can't have that. I can't have that. And it was like, because I can't have it, you shouldn't have it. And it literally had turned into an anger. Like, this person, they got very intense when they were explaining this to me. Right. And I'm like, they're like really, like, you can't not notice how intense they are.
Yeah.
And it was angry intense. So as I looked at this, I was like, I don't understand what this person's so angry about. And then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, oh, this is what it is. There's something there that all it does is keep reflecting what this person doesn't think that they can actually have. And that's what they're actually angry about, right? So the problem was it got too close to them. If it's off in the distance, right? If it's off in the distance where this person doesn't have to look at it on a regular basis, it's one thing. But it got close to them personally. So it was something that they couldn't ignore. Not that it affected them in any way. It was just that knowing that it's there actually started making them very angry.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
Well, it goes back to they have to, so change. People sometimes have to make the change wrong so that they can feel okay with themselves.
Yes.
They can feel right.
Yeah.
So this person needed to make that development or whatever it was wrong so that they could feel
That's right.
good enough. They could feel right.
Right. And I think there's also comparison going on there. This is better than what I have.
Man.
And there's nothing wrong with what this person has. It's actually amazing. But when you compare it to something else, right? So
The law of relativity.
when we use that law the wrong way, you're fucked. I mean, it'll get you. It'll
Yeah.
bite you when you
Yeah,
use
for
that
sure.
law the wrong way. So just so everybody knows, the law of relativity is basically nothing is big or small, right or wrong, good or bad until you compare it to something else. And then the way that you compare it is the story that you tell yourself about that thing. And it isn't anything other than what you're making it up to be. Like if you had three squares, and on the left you had a big square, in the middle you had a medium-sized square, and on the right you had a little square. That square in the middle is not big or small until you compare it to the boxes on either side of it. And then it becomes whatever it is that you think of. So the story that I'm telling, this person has something that's pretty amazing, but when they look at something better, they get angry. And I don't actually even think, honestly, that this person would want this thing. It just makes them feel. So the reason where I was going with this is also this. In order for that to happen, I think there's got to be some kind of a self-esteem issue there.
Oh, totally.
Right?
Yeah.
Self-image. So you see yourself as some way and you try to make yourself feel good about not feeling good, right? And then when something reflects that, because whenever you're getting angry about something, you have to ask yourself, why am I choosing to have this experience? Why would I be so angry about something that's never done anything to me? You know, but it's always something that's going on with us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so much so, like when you gave the example of that exercise that we used to do, people would literally shut down.
Totally shut down.
Right?
Like you would say, so they would come up with a list of all the things they judge about people. And it was, some of them had a pretty extensive list of judgments, right?
Yes.
And that's most people have a pretty extensive list of judgments.
And there was a lot of energy in a lot of those
ton,
judgments.
and
I
they
mean, we
were
used to have to
very-
coax them to
Yes.
bring that energy out.
Yes. A lot of energy in their rightness of judging these people. So
Yeah.
they judged slobs. They judged loud talkers. They judged zealots. They judged bad dressers. They judged women in spandex. They judged, I mean, you name it. The judgments were like all over the board, right? And then we would take them through this process where we would say, okay, well, how do they judge you? Like, how does this slob look at you?
Yes.
Hearing you talk about them behind how do they judge you? People couldn't come up with, well, no one's going to judge me, Like, it's fascinating what your subconscious mind will do to cause you to not see the things that you have suppressed since you were a childhood.
Yeah.
If you're upset because someone is being extra loud, and boisterous and the center of attention, guess what? That's probably part of your suppressed self. That's probably part of what was shut down for you when you were a child. You were probably a boisterous, loud kid and in your natural element, and someone said, be quiet.
That's right.
You're a pain in the ass, and it shut you down.
Yep.
And that's just begging to come out.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
You have a judgment about, I don't know, what was some of the judgments I said? The slob. Many people had judgments with people's dirty houses, right? Like, I judge people who have, unkept dirty houses or dirty yards.
Right.
Okay, well, the reason that you're judging those people is because you wish that you could be a little bit more carefree. You wish that you didn't have to always have everything so perfect so that when someone came to your house, they didn't think something about you.
Exactly.
You wish that you could be more comfortable being a little bit of a free spirit, right? So, I mean, these judgments have huge things to tell us about ourselves.
They absolutely
Because
do.
you're right. You don't judge everything.
No, you don't.
you don't judge everything.
Right.
You don't judge everyone. You judge very specific things. And the reason you judge those very specific things is because they have something to teach you about what you're not allowing yourself to be, do, or have.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. There's something specific about it that's resonating with you that, is causing that. And the other thing with especially with the jealousy part, because envy just doesn't have the energy with it. But the other thing about that jealousy is that the anger about the idea that, or having to make something wrong, is also part of this idea. Like, if you ask the person, would you actually like that? They'd probably tell you no.
What do you mean? Can you give us?
Well, let's say the person was jealous of a car, right? They saw this gorgeous car or whatever, but they got angry. They were, in that angry, jealous way, and then they had to make that person wrong. And if you said, "Hey, would you like that car?" They would probably tell you no. They wouldn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or if you wanted to, like, these are also people that usually have a hard time receiving gifts, because it's, in that case, they would actually like the thing, but in receiving the gift, it makes them feel like they're not worthy.
Yeah.
What are you saying? I'm not successful enough to buy this by myself by doing this. I don't, I don't need the charity thing that you
we've
hear.
Heard that a lot of times.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So you're saying that in that instance, that's envy that's turned to jealousy.
Yes.
Because it's gone from, ooh, that's a really pretty car. I'd like to drive that one day.
Right.
Or I'd like to have that one day too. That son of a bitch must have done something nefarious to have that car. And
Yeah.
I hate him because he has that car. Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the way that, let's just leave it there.
Is that not right?
It's, they have to completely make them wrong.
Yes.
That's what I was looking for the words to say that. Yeah. They have to completely make them wrong.
Yeah. So if you're looking at this for yourself, let's leave our listeners with a couple of activities today. So the first thing is, if you find yourself jealous or envious of something, ask yourself, like, just honest question with an air of curiosity, ask yourself, what am I not giving? What am I not letting myself be, do, or have that I'm seeing in these things? So is it you're envious because you want more of something that this person has, or that this experience can create for you? And get really clear on that, because it might be an indicator of the things that you need to do for yourself in order to perpetuate your own growth, your own movement forward. And then second, if you find yourself judging things about people, take a look at those judgments and really ask yourself, why am I judging this? What about them do they have that if I added just a sprinkle of in my life in a positive way, how would that have a positive impact on my life? Would it make me more relaxed, more stress-free, more carefree, more expressed, more abundant, a better leader? What are those, more confident? What are those things that are being replicated in the judgments that you have that you're not allowing yourself to be? And that's a direct line to your suppressed self.
Direct.
And most of us have suppressed selves because we had to behave a certain way as children.
Right.
And
we're not given permission to be everything that you can actually be, to be your authentic self.
Yes.
You're not supposed to be able to, you can't want things. You have to, everything's about what you need.
Yes.
What do you need that
Exactly.
for?
What do you need that for?
What do you need that for?
Or you did something that embarrassed the people that were taking care of you.
I always
and
did
just
something
got like
embarrassed.
shut right down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
Let me ask you one quick question before
Yeah.
we go out. As far as like, I'm speaking about myself in terms of social media, right? So I've been off social media for about 2.5 years now, primarily because of what you two just talked about, with me judging other people and being, I think it was more jealousy because there was anger behind it, even though I was doing the same exact things, but it was okay for me to take pictures of my lunch or take pictures on a beach somewhere. But if somebody else did it, then I would get annoyed. I would get triggered. So I cut that out of my life and I never necessarily addressed it. So I guess what I'm saying is, how do you go about not just avoiding the trigger, but doing something about it to make sure that I get to a better place? Now, let me preface this by saying I'm in a much better place now than I was 2.5 years ago because of being off of social media. However, it's very quick for me to go back on there if I ever, decide to go back, to be sucked right back in. How do I avoid that entirely?
Well, do you have a story in your mind that when somebody does that, T, that they're trying to show you up?
Very much so. It was
even though you don't have any idea who the person is, like it.
Correct.
That's the story that you created, right?
Yeah. More often than not, though, it's people I know, like people I'm friends with, friendly with, family members. I get triggered in a way, and I used to get angry about it.
Did somebody do that to you when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. It's a pattern.
It's a pattern.
Yeah. It's a pattern you picked up from the people that raised you.
And you don't talk to that person about it directly. You talk behind their back.
It's nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where I came from.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Well, I think the idea is to realize that whatever you do is good enough.
Yeah, it's a worthiness for sure.
It is definitely a worthiness
for sure. No, I absolutely.
You don't have to constantly be better than someone else because that's an impossibility.
Right.
There's always be somebody better, right? It's not about better.
No.
It's not about better. It's about accepting yourself exactly the way that you are.
Yep.
And it was interesting because Jordan Peterson actually said something about this recently, and I think he took it in the wrong direction. He said, well, if you accept yourself as being as good just the way you are right now, where's the room to get to better? And it's not about that. It's about saying, I'm okay. I'm a great person. And because of that, I will grow what I see fit for myself.
Yeah.
I don't have to do it because I'm jealous of somebody else. Right. Or that I'm envious. So one of the things that I would like to leave everybody with is this. If you see jealousy or envy in your life, the good side of it is that there's an indication of something there that you want for yourself that's absolutely great.
Yeah.
That's absolutely fantastic. If you can weed out all this nonsense and get to the core of what that is, you could have amazing things in your life.
Yes, absolutely.
So my biggest takeaway is I am going to wear PJs to the office for the rest of the week.
Right on.
Yeah. Who wants to join me? Steph, you in?
That's a pass.
You going to wear the ones with the flap in the back?
And I do love the dig she put about the loud, obnoxious people because she lives with one. So I love that subtle dig, that passive aggressive dig. I dig it. So
it was a teaching moment. That's how she slips it in there.
It was a teaching moment.
Yeah.
And I subconsciously reach my husband.
I didn't say I judge loud and obnoxious.
Right.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Well, thank you. This was great, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, this is David Nagel. Thank you for listening to the Successful Mind podcast. And there's no need to be jealous or envious of our podcast. You too can start a podcast with our new program, How to Start a Podcast Without Jealousy and Envy. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you very much. Have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to the Successful Mind podcast. If you like what you've heard and you want to know more, go to lifeisnowinc.com.